Welcome back to Primetime News and a special welcome to those of you watching on onespotmedia.com. The Union of Clerical, Administrative and Supervisor Employees UCASE says it's now gearing up to begin wage negotiations with the Finance Ministry on behalf of 15 units in the government service. UCASE President Vincent Morrison says his group is frustrated with the delay in commencing negotiations under the Compensation Review Program.
We have groups like the National Housing Trust, Financial Services Commission, the dental doctors. In fact, I spoke to the officials of the ministry on Friday, and we should be setting some dates early Monday, Tuesday to start with the dental surgeons.
He argued that the union will not accept the current offer on the table.
No, we believe it's a letdown because, the year before, we were told by the minister that accept the 2.5%. And by accepting 2.5%, better would have been done in 21, 22, and beyond. 22, 23, and beyond. This is not the case. This is not the case. In fact, based on what has been coming out of the public service, offers have been made that have been reduced benefit, not only benefit, but, salary scales that were in place before. And with the taxation, there's no movement in taxation as it relates to these issues. The workers are going to be worse off.
With the government under pressure to reduce major crimes, the Chief Justice is urging judges to display courage and uphold the law when making critical decisions about people's life.
Courage to decide cases against popular sentiment. And in a high crime environment, understandably, there is an expectation that criminals, if you call them criminals, will be caught, tried, convicted, and punished severely. However, it is the criminal law that determines whether a crime has been committed. And it is a court which determines whether the person should be branded as a criminal at the end of the trial process and assuming that there is a conviction.
Brian Sykes was speaking recently during a swearing-in ceremony for judges of the Court of Appeal and Supreme Court. He also raised concerns about the use of the term violence producers. The Prime Minister and law enforcement officials have indicated that such persons are committing crimes across Jamaica and they will be targeted. But for the Chief Justice, the law must take precedence.
Violence producers, we don't know who those are. Is it defined? How do we get to these expressions? And the expectation seems to be that once a particular arm of the executive defines them as such, then that is to be accepted without question by the judiciary. Well, just to say that that has never been so and can't be so. A criminal trial is conducted according to the rules of evidence, procedure, and the determination is to find out whether the person has been convicted, is guilty of the crime with which he or she is charged.
And speaking of charges, the Chief Justice also commented on individuals deprived of their liberty. While not specifically mentioning the term pre-charge detention, he had this to say.
The law relating to the writ of habeas corpus was developed so that the legality of the detention of persons could be inquired into. And so, in a democratic society, whenever a person is deprived of his or her liberty, there are really only two choices open. The person is either released or they are charged and placed before the court. There's really no realistic third option. And even before we had a constitution, the common law itself is predicated upon individual liberty. This is why with the thought of false imprisonment, the claimant simply has to state, I was imprisoned. Full stop. And thereafter, the person doing the imprisoning has to make the justification.